World's Finest #2, written by Paul Levitz, art by George Perez and Kevin McGuire. Last issue left off with the dynamic duo fighting against some radiation thing named Haku, and this just is exactly the same fight. So Karen, Power Girl, is fighting against Haku and is quite literally destroying the entire lab in order to do it. Like, she's just ripping off random tubes from the wall and throwing it at him. And Huntress is like, hey, maybe don't do that. And she's like, they already destroyed my quantum tunneling generator. I'm just bringing this place down. I'm pissed. So, but no matter what they throw at Haku, it's not doing anything to him. Helena gets up and like blinds him for just a second, long enough for Power Girl to get up in his face and throw a solid punch. But as it connects, it like literally causes her pain. Not like more so than anything else she's felt since she fought with Darkseid and whatever. So it's causing her, like, it's shocking her, doing whatever. Helena fires a crossbow at Haku and it lands like in his ear, to which he finally has to drop Power Girl and stumbles through a wall away. And Huntress wakes up Power Girl, gets her awake, and it's just like, hey, okay, yeah, he just kind of left. Why were you hurt by him? And Power Girl's like, I don't know. It's like, well, he's radiation. Maybe part of that radiation is like kryptonite or something. And he's like, I don't know. Regardless, let's go find him. So they fly off. Then we get some more flashbacks. So 5 years ago, Karen's trying to burn her Supergirl costume in order to just, put away the past, move on, but she's literally not able to. It's literally not burning. So she's like, maybe that's a sign that we need to go back. And Huntress just tells her, like, no, there is no back. They are dead. They died. Like, yes, our world may still be there, but everything that we cared about is gone. We need to start a new life here. And then 58 months ago, so I guess 2 months after that, they're just finding out more and more differences, things that are just a little bit changed. They're in Paris, and they see how the Justice League on this planet did manage to fight back the Darkseid that showed up. And they realize, like, yeah, that's definitely the same Darkseid. So if he's able to get through between our planets, between the planet we're on and the planet we came from, we are able to get through as well. We just need to figure out how. So also Huntress was just saying how she has some sort of indestructible fabric that she got. It may be from Apocalypse. She's not sure, but she's got it regardless. So then we cut to a few weeks ago in Micronesia, where Karen's already running her own business. People are asking her a whole bunch of questions on, like, oh, what do you want to do? Time Magazine is here for an interview, and this other person's asking about whatever, and blah, blah, blah. And so she just very quickly, rapid fire answers all the questions. And then turns out she needs to get some more rare earth metals in order to get a prototype or something working that may be able to bring her back to her planet. So she just puts on a bathing suit, jumps down in the water outside of her company, and uses her X-ray vision to find some rare earth metals in the lower oceanic crust. And so she just picks up this giant boulder, brings it back up to the surface, and sets it in front of her assistant. The assistant calls up somebody like, yeah, the rare earth metal people dropped off something on the dock. You might want to come get that with a truck. And then apparently this takes place at pretty much the exact same time as the Huntress miniseries, because the assistant says, by the way, your friend is having some trouble getting out of Italy. Maybe you should go help her. So the Huntress miniseries happens. And then we see you cut back to now. Power Girl's flying Huntress, and they're just basically tracking the path of where this person came from. Now, remember, they're in Japan, so Huntress is thinking maybe it has something to do with like the Fukushima thing or something like that. I'm not entirely sure, but as they move along, they can see that there's this huge, like, there's a bunch of floating rocks just up in the sky, all held up with the radiation. So they know they're headed in the right direction. And Power Girl makes sure to give Huntress a hard time by like doing a whole bunch of zigzags and crazy loop-de-loops throughout the rocks, which is, while she's holding Huntress, is just giving her a hard time. Then we cut over to Gotham City for a one-page cutaway that I genuinely don't know what happened. It's the Gotham Bank, and this banker just looks at his screen and sees that there are 3 all rapid-fire withdrawals from an account that transferred out $387,000 each. And then they just stop and disappear. And he just goes, huh, that's weird. I don't know what that was. I'm sure we'll get to it, but it was weird. So anyway, the Power Girl uses her X-ray vision to see that Haku is inside, and he's like feeding on some radiation and stuff like that inside. So they can't get too close because, it is a heavy radiation area. So Huntress keeps her distance and fires off some crossbow shots to draw Haku out. And I say keeps her distance. It's like 10 feet, which I feel like the radiation would still get to her, but regardless. Haku's pissed off. He's like, you managed to hurt me. You won't hurt me again. And as he's about to lay into Huntress, Power Girl just comes down from the ceiling and knocks him down a few floors. And she starts wailing on him, but then he catches one of her punches and just does a massive radiation burst, which of course knocks her on her ass. And she falls down and is pretty much well injured. And at that point, Haku turns to Huntress and is just like, when they entomb the remains of this power plant, they can bury your corpse with it. And Huntress goes, over my dead body. And he's like, yeah, that's the plan, as he seemingly either goes like hypercritical or he starts growing. It's kind of hard to tell. But that's where we leave the issue. I'm thinking that this first arc's probably just going to be filled with those flashbacks, which I don't mind so much, but I do want a better sequence. Like, it's really hard for me to keep track of what happened 5 years ago, what happened a few weeks ago. Like, I gather the gist of like, okay, this thing happened when they first got here, and this thing happened pretty much when the story happened. But I'm assuming that there's going to be some middling stuff, later issues that are like, 30 months ago and stuff like that. And that's where it's going to be really hard to keep track of, okay, what's already happened and what hasn't. If they were going to be doing this flashback, I'd much rather they would have kept it in strict chronological order of 60 months ago, 50 months ago, 40, 30, and then a few weeks ago would have shown up in like the last issue of the arc. But now that they're going out of order, I don't know. It feels like it's just going to be a bit difficult to keep track of. But that's possibly a complaint for a future issue. It's just something that kind of scared me with this one because I'm not able to keep track of 60 months worth of events in my head. So yeah, it's good. It's fine. Art's a little bit shaky. It's not my preferred style. I think the flashback parts are actually better than the main series part. For the most part, I would say. There's some issues to it still. I think Kevin McGuire's does the flashbacks, whereas the main story is done by George Perez. But they both have a very different style to them, and both have their pros and cons. So overall, it's just a middling issue. I would say I give it a 6.5, and that probably sounds a little bit harsh comparatively, but it just feels right. So yeah, it's not blowing me away, and I hope that it can get to something that actually feels like it matters a little bit sooner than later.